Hello, friends. Mike Fina here with the Union Labor Advisory Network. Today we're sitting down with a man whose story is as inspiring as the work he does. Vincent Alu is the business manager of Labor's Local 66, representing the hardworking men and women building the infrastructure that keeps Long Island moving, from hospitals and schools to major public work projects. But Vincent didn't start in a boardroom. He got his hands dirty, quite literally, beginning his career in the trades at age 40. His journey is a powerful example that it's never too late to change your life, join a union, and build a future. In this conversation, we'll talk about the mission of Local 66, how they're creating powerful pathways for young people into a union apprenticeship, and why union labor is the backbone of the middle class. Whether you're a student, educator, parent, or someone just looking for a fresh start, this is a story you need to hear. Let's dive into the world of union pride, purpose, and opportunity with Vincent Alu. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Union Labor Advisory Network. I'm Mike Fina. Today, I'm extremely proud to be with Vincent Alu, Business Manager, Secretary Treasurer for Labor's Local 66 for Nassau and Suffolk County here in New York, with us today to learn a little bit more about your background, history, and experience to share with the audience, and what's going on with Labor's Local 66 in Long Island. I mean, I'm proud to call you a friend in labor and know you for quite some time and see you rise to the ranks. So I'm so thankful for you to sit down and again, really share your story.
Anytime, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. So then for the audience, just tell us, how did you get into labor? How did you start with the laborers and get to have a life in union labor?
Yeah. So I was born and raised on Long Island. Grew up in Massapequa. Grew up, digging holes and pushing wheelbarrows as a neighborhood landscaper growing up, and one day I crossed paths with a Local 66 shop steward. Kind of pointed me in the direction of the apprenticeship. I grabbed the reins from there. I went through the testing application process, and it was about a year between the time I first called and started the process to when I got called to come in. But once I came in as an apprentice, a 40-year-old apprentice, 40-year-old level 1 apprentice, I just hit the ground running, and 16 years later, I'm now the business manager of the local.
That's incredible. And again, I know your passion and support of labor and actually helping people in general. That's what labor is all about. You're really connected to Long Island Fed, Nassau Suffolk Building and Construction Trades. Could you give us a little overview of what Labor's Local 66 does within the communities and the members that you serve?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So General Building Labor's Local 66 is a membership of approximately 600. We are the Nassau and Suffolk affiliate of the Laborers International Union of North America, which is a membership of about 550,000 nationwide, construction and non-construction, including 55,000 in the United States Postal Service as mail handlers. We're a very proud organization, 120 years old, 80 years old here on Long Island. And what we do here on Long Island, what we're tasked with here on Long Island is most of the big commercial, industrial, institutional type construction, say hospitals, schools, airports, train stations. We've built every public school on Long Island. We've built all the malls. We built every train station, all the airports. So what we do on a construction site is more often than not the concrete, big demolition, and things like that. Our job description is we typically do the stuff that nobody else wants to do, and we do it well, and we've been doing it well for a long time.
That's great. And within the local, how does one become an apprentice, or how does that work from an apprenticeship standpoint? I know you got yourself your foot in the door as a 40-year-old, right?
Yep.
But I see, and I know you guys are very active, and hats off to your local, for all the, the community service and work that you guys do as well. I had an opportunity to sit down with Josh last year, Josh Lady, political director, and all the schools, really educating the next generation of union labor members of what these particular careers could look like, because they are great paying careers with great benefits. The quality of life, as a union member is much better than non. And maybe you could elaborate a little bit more about that for us.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm a very proud union member. My mother and my grandmother were both union members, nurse and seamstress. I have union throughout my family. But, growing up working for, family business, you stay loyal to the small network of family that you're working for is comfortable. It's a neighborhood thing. But at some point, you want to expand and grow your own family and, you know, take part in this middle class economy and life here on Long Island. And it's really hard to do without the support of, you know, organized labor. It's really critical. It's the ladder out of just getting by, you know, paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, I had been working hard, very hard for a number of years. When this opportunity came my way, I grasped it and I really ran with it. And right out of the box, you know, the leadership in the local, you know, saw, you know, some passion, use your word, and it was there, you know, because I finally felt like, you know, I was part of an organization that really had my back. You know, sometimes, you know, in the small and non-union world, it's every man for himself, and I don't think that's fair. So when I had the opportunity to, you know, work alongside of people that were like-minded and all pulling in the same direction as me, you know, I saw great value in that. And, you know, I worked my way through, you know, all of our organizational organizing classes. I became a certified instructor for the International, for the Laborers International. I've taken every leadership class, and, you know, these are really valuable training opportunities. And with the main goal is my thing with leadership is, you know, the most important thing that leaders of any organization, anyone, anywhere, is if you're leading people, it's your number one responsibility is to get the next generation, next crew of leaders behind you ready to go.
Right.
I think it's a great fault of some leaders out there that hang in there till the very end, and then they haven't created a pipeline. It creates, you know, confusion when the time to transition, you know, time to transition into. So we've taken that very serious in Local 66. We really have. You know, we encourage, you know, training on every level and all of our disciplines. And with the help of our international union, with a program they have created, the LEARN program, we have now started skills training high school kids in public schools on Long Island as direct pipelines and pathways into a union career. So it's become a full circle thing for me. You know, 57 this year. I'm going to put in a handful more years. But these next handful of years will be spent preparing the next team of leaders coming into the local. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's great to, you know, I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of different building and construction trades, look at all the ARC initiatives coming out of the NAP2, and looking at, you know, from construction skills to helmets to hard hats and pathways to apprenticeships, as well as new in those particular programs.
Yeah.
You know, these are really, you know, transitioning or programs to help transition the next generation of skilled, you know, construction workers, men and women, to find these careers. And what Layun has done, and the training centers is done to prepare the next generation is really incredible. And it's inspiring to me because I've had the great fortune to be able to go through those training centers and see those members grow from first year to fourth year and see the level of expertise that they have.
Yeah.
It's really, you know, exciting for me and exciting to see that next generation of skilled tradesperson working into that particular career.
Yeah, I completely agree.
You know?
Yeah, it's, you know, we've been able to do quite a few things over at Local 66 over the last few years. You know, it was mentioned in another room earlier tonight that we were able to bring, you know, OSHA standards to Long Island. Had never been there before. You know, apprenticeship standards to the townships on Long Island where, you know, if you're going to bid and work on these projects in these municipalities and different levels of government, you have to utilize apprenticeship. You know, but I think the thing that, you know, at this point in my career that I'm most proud of is bringing it to the high school kids. It's really, you know, there's only a handful of places in the country that have been able to implement, you know, a pathway out of high school into a union career. We were the first in New York State here on Long Island with the Roosevelt School District, and, you know, we have a couple other school districts that are very interested in it. So, the workforce development, job training stuff is sacred mission to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you, and I've been very fortunate to work with the Department of Ed as well as Department of Veteran Services, but the Department of Ed with some of the school programs within the city of New York, adult school 6 programs for the adults, and then, again, NAPTU coming in with their MC3 curriculum and putting those particular programs, training the trainers or educating the educators on what these careers could look like. I'm a product of a Catholic school. I didn't have those vocational, skill sets or actually classes when I was going through, and to see that through Grady High School, one of the schools that I work closely with, and to see those 15-year-olds that could frame out houses or do different things, I'm like, I'm in awe. And to know that you guys, your local does that and is training the next generation at the schools within Long Island is really just impressive. And hats off to you and the leadership, and just proud to work with you and support your initiatives in any way we can.
Thank you.
But again, I just want to thank you so much for sitting down with us and just learning more about your background and all the great work that Local 66 is doing for Nassau and Suffolk counties. And we're here to support you. I want to thank you for everything and just thank you for sitting down with us today.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. And I really appreciate what you've done with this platform. We're in tricky times now. It's not an overstatement to say that if you're in leadership in a union nowadays, chances are you have a target on you, right? And we are doing the best we can, and we need our friends and partners with platforms like you to elevate the good intentions that we put out there and we walk with every day. So I can't say thank you enough, Mike. Really.
Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. Like you mentioned before, like-minded people stick together, and there's power in numbers, stronger together. A lot of those particular mottos really hold true in labor. And again, labor's taking care of my family in the worst of times during COVID. So, this is my give back to people that have supported me throughout my career, and I'm just really proud to have this platform and to work with people like yourself. So again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mike.
And look forward to future success and everything you're doing.
Upward and onward.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Right on.
I'd like to thank all our sponsors for helping to build and promote the ULA network. It is because of you that we're able to support, educate, and promote informative content relevant to labor. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel and media. I'd like to thank you all for your support.